For years, the mysterious interstellar object known as Oumuamua has fascinated astronomers and the general public alike. First discovered in October 2017 by astronomers using the Pan-STARRS 1 telescope in Hawaii, it was the first known object to enter our solar system from another star. Its elongated, cigar-like shape, unusual acceleration, and a trajectory that could not be explained by gravitational forces alone sparked intense debate. Some scientists proposed that it was a natural phenomenon, perhaps a fragment of a larger body torn apart by tidal forces, while others speculated, with cautious excitement, that it could be a probe sent by an advanced alien civilization. Now, a recent announcement by astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson has reignited global interest with a revelation as astonishing as it is disturbing. Oumuamua has suddenly returned, and it's not alone. Before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more updates. Tracking interstellar objects is no easy task. After Oumuamua left our solar system, it was expected to disappear forever into the depths of interstellar space, too faint and distant to be tracked. But according to recent observations and data analysis led by an international team of astronomers, a new object matching Oumuamua's unique signature has been detected, following a trajectory eerily similar to the original. The object re-entered the outer solar system, not from the direction it had left, but as if it had turned, looped, or followed a complex and deliberate path. Even more astonishing, several smaller objects with similar composition and movement have been identified near it, maintaining coordinated movement patterns. These patterns do not match random celestial mechanics and suggest a level of organization, or, at the very least, an origin that deeply challenges what scientists thought was possible. What stands out most is how this return was discovered. It was not through a high-profile space observatory with a multi-million-dollar budget, but thanks to a collaborative network of small observatories connected by a recently implemented AI-assisted sky scanning system. This system detected an anomalous movement pattern in the Oort cloud region, an area that remains largely theoretical and mysterious in itself. What they detected was a slow but steady incursion of multiple objects, one of them with exactly the same reflective properties, speed variations, and axial rotation previously associated with Oumuamua. Tyson, known for his clear and often humorous way of communicating science, broke the news with an uncharacteristic solemnity that highlighted the potential gravity of this event. The objects are not simply passing by. Their trajectory has changed subtly but decisively toward the inner solar system. They are moving toward the inner regions again, this time slower, as if they were inspecting or responding to something. The leading object, presumed to be Oumuamua, or a twin construction, has begun emitting a faint signal. It is not in radio or microwave, but in an infrared wavelength that went unnoticed in the initial detection in 2017. The pattern is rhythmic, recurring, and not naturally associated with thermal emission from rocky or metallic bodies. Whether it is a beacon, propulsion residue, or some kind of communication system remains unknown, but the signal is consistent and deliberate in its cadence. This has forced a reassessment not only of the nature of Oumuamua, but of the very protocols by which we define intelligent activity. Until now, the dominant assumption was that space is silent, cold, and devoid of intentional movement. Most of what moves does so under the influence of gravity, blind and purposeless. But this second appearance completely challenges that framework. The idea that an interstellar object could return after leaving the solar system introduces possibilities that transcend current astrophysical theory. Natural phenomena do not tend to reverse course unless affected by significant gravitational forces or a controlled impulse. There is no known planetary body or gravitational field that can explain this turn, nor is there any evidence of natural propulsion capable of manipulating movements across such vast interstellar distances. This leads to the most compelling, albeit controversial, interpretation. The movement is intentional. Adding even more intrigue is the configuration of the smaller objects accompanying it. They are positioned in what appears to be a loosely closed V formation, not unlike how birds fly in coordinated flocks. This alignment has remained consistent over thousands of kilometers and shows small responsive adjustments, as if reacting to solar radiation, magnetic fields, or even observation tracking. These are not ice fragments wandering randomly through the void. They exhibit behaviors that suggest cohesion and interaction. The level of organization is like nothing ever seen before in non-biological or non-technological objects in space. This revelation forces astronomers to reconsider the definition of what constitutes a natural interstellar visitor. Could Oumuamua have been part of a larger network of objects from the beginning? Was the 2017 encounter just a reconnaissance phase of something more complex? Perhaps its sudden acceleration away from the Sun, previously attributed to outgassing despite the absence of detectable material, was actually a maneuver, not a reaction. In that context, its return takes on a chilling meaning. It was not random, but part of a cycle. It was not lost. It was watching. Planetary defense agencies around the world are now on alert, not necessarily because of an imminent threat, but because of uncertainty about the object's intentions and trajectories. It is standard practice to prepare for unpredictable space encounters, comets, asteroids, space debris. But this situation is unprecedented. These objects exhibit behavior that defies conventional celestial mechanics. Instruments originally calibrated to track high-speed, high-albedo objects are being recalibrated to detect and measure subtle emission signatures, signal modulations, and flight formations. Curiously, Earth is not the immediate destination. The leading object is scheduled to pass through the asteroid belt in approximately 2 months, and its trajectory appears to align with regions rich in metallic and silicate asteroids. If this is a scanning or reconnaissance mission, the asteroid belt would be a veritable treasure trove of data. Even more intriguing is the possibility that these objects are returning to a specific point or a kind of gathering in space. Perhaps a previous station, perhaps a trigger point for their previous visit. Another unexplained element lies in the changes in solar wind patterns in the region where these objects travel. Instruments aboard solar observation satellites have detected subtle deviations in the solar wind flow corresponding to the proximity of these incoming objects. These fluctuations are not consistent with typical solar activity and appear to pulse in harmony with infrared emissions. This synchronicity has not gone unnoticed, and some researchers are already developing theories that connect the movement and emissions of the objects with some kind of space weather manipulation or shielding mechanism. If this turns out to be true, we would not only be looking at extraterrestrial technology, but also at advanced environmental engineering on a scale never before observed. Radio telescopes around the world have been pointed at these incoming visitors, but so far, there has been no signal in the electromagnetic spectrum indicating communication in the traditional sense. The absence of radio frequencies could mean that these objects are not transmitting, or that they operate in a completely different form of signaling, perhaps something that our current technology can barely detect or interpret. However, laser arrays and infrared sensors have detected fluctuations in emissions that suggest pattern and possibly intent. Deciphering this will take time, and it is likely that a new branch of science will emerge from this endeavor. Philosophically, the implications of this return deeply impact the collective unconscious of humanity. For decades, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence has been framed by the idea that if something sufficiently advanced exists out there, it would choose to make contact in a clear and obvious way. But what if intelligence expresses itself through recognition, through patience, through slow observation of other civilizations before initiating any form of open dialogue? What if the signals are not even meant for us? The anthropocentric assumption that any visiting intelligence would see Earth as a focal point is now under scrutiny. These objects may not have any particular interest in Earth. They could be mapping, collecting, or even revisiting something they left behind in the early days of the solar system. Tyson's announcement, while not alarmist, conveyed the weight of a historic moment. not because of confirmed contact, but because of the shift in what is now conceivable. Until now, every object in the solar system could be explained under the known laws of motion and probability. This is different. The recurring, structured, and seemingly conscious behavior of these visitors pushes the boundaries of science towards science fiction. The world is watching, not looking for lights in the sky, but for patterns, movements, intention. Meanwhile, academic institutions and space agencies are aligning research efforts like never before. The SETI Institute, NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office, the European Space Agency, and private observatories are sharing resources and data to gain more clarity. Satellites are being reconfigured, and space missions that were once considered secondary are now being accelerated to prioritize observation opportunities. There are even discussions about developing rapid deployment drone probes designed to intercept or approach these objects for short-range imaging and analysis. These are not the missions of the past that took years to develop, but agile response systems born of a new urgency. The sudden reappearance of Oumuamua, especially with companions, is not just a scientific event. It is a moment of global reflection. The universe has just reminded us that it has more surprises, more enigmas, and perhaps more intelligence than we thought. The sky, which we thought was already mapped and understood, is once again a frontier. Wild, mysterious, and full of possibilities. This unfolding scenario may ultimately redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. If these objects are part of a pattern, if more are on their way, then our period of isolation could be coming to an end. Not through invasion or direct communication, but through silent visits and passive observation. The observers, it seems, have returned, and they are not alone. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave us your comments below and tell us, what do you think about the return of Oumuamua? Are you hoping for evidence of extraterrestrial life? We want to know your opinion. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.